My name is Chase Craig, and I am a practicing black magician. Now, using that term black magician, it always, like, whenever someone says magic or magician or whatever, it has these uh, strange images that appear, like card tricks and strange, fun little party games and stuff like that. The truth of it is actually quite dark and mysterious and powerful and very real, but realistic. And a lot of what the media and Hollywood and everything makes magic out to be has it's kind of covered up what real witchcraft and what real magic can do. And the truth of it is actually quite powerful if you know how to harness this. If you, it's funny how my life has kind of come to this because I remember when I was real young, I was always drawn toward spirituality. And my very first touch of it was Christianity. And that was kind of my only kind of spirituality that I had at my disposal was Christianity. But I never got into I never accepted anything they said. It just maybe it just went over my head, but I never understood anything that they were talking about. But I picked up on things that I picked up on things that maybe they didn't want me to pick up on. Like specifically, one line that I've always found interesting in the Bible of all places is the line in Genesis that says, if they were to know about the knowledge of good and evil, they could be gods like us. And I always wondered what that meant. The knowledge of good and evil. That there is no good and there is no evil in this world. That's why whenever there's an argument between an atheist and a Christian, the first thing the atheist says is, how could there be a God when there are so many bad things that happen to good people? It's not that there's no God, but it's not that there's specifically a man in a white robe and a white beard sitting on a cloud playing a ukulele. It's something in between that quite possibly, when it says God, it's referring to us. That within every one of us is the power to be God, the creator of our own lives, the creator of our own reality. To see something that you want, a desire, and to manifest it right before your eyes. And there are certain tricks, certain laws, and certain rituals that people have done throughout history. But Western culture and certain Abrahamic dogmatic religions have demonized certain entities that are here to help you. Because if you were to tap into this power, it would give you true freedom. And true freedom isn't necessarily good for the people who want to enslave the masses. Whether that's by whether that's a political nature, whether that's media, whether that's whatever. Whether that's pushed out by Hollywood, whether that's pushed out by mainstream media, whether that's pushed out by politics. And if it's one thing that the universe and the spirits that be hates, it's slavery and oppression. And if you want to look at the dark entities of this world, like Lucifer, who is Lucifer? In essence, he is the most truest form of freedom. The darkness that descended from the light, rather, the darkness that was created within the light, that descended from the light to be equal to the light. Maybe I didn't say that clearly. The darkness that was created within the light, that descended from the light to become equal to the light. when a father creates a son in his image to be perfect, he soon realizes, why would perfect need a God? But most humans who are flawed and who are weak and simple need a God to worship. When humans are too flawed, too simple, too weak to think for themselves, they need someone to guide them. And so, in this life, in this consciousness, in this world, in this reality, in this whatever, it's all about finding a sweet spot to live your life. To live your life the best way you see fit, whatever works for you, and what works for some people doesn't really work for others. But I remember when I was really young, I was drawn to spirituality, and Christianity was the only thing that was like in front of me. And as I got further in through life, I didn't really have the best parents, but having my grandparents, at least like early on, that at least saved me. Having my grandparents, being adopted by my grandparents, saved me from whatever mistake of a life I could have had, being raised by two people who are not so bright. Eventually, kind of like as I drew closer to spirituality, Christianity was like the only choice. So I felt somewhat enslaved. I felt somewhat suffocated. And I don't really like saying that, but I mean, it's not completely. I don't. So as I kept trying to figure things out, I remember I was drawn to the very first thing I did magically was a candle magic, which I think in most cases when people are drawn to witchcraft, candle magic is probably it's shockingly powerful, but the simplest thing, and it's the simplest form of magic. And I started meditating in front of a candle, and I didn't quite know what I was doing. Not that I know what I'm doing now, but I was just drawn to doing this. And from that day to now, it was just like, it's funny to think how, I think when I first lit that candle and started meditating in front of it, it just started leading me down this path. And the funny thing about black magic with white magic, or the funny thing about black magic, white magic, witchcraft, anything, whatever you want to call it, when these things start to manifest results in your life, it can be quite shocking. First of all, like the results you get, it's not quite like you can wave a wand and just boom, and it gets exactly what you want, exactly when you want it. The forces that are at play here, when you perform a ritual or a spell, it starts to circle everything around. And sometimes it happens very quickly, sometimes a little slower, sometimes it depends on how specific your desires are. It has to basically, it begins to spin everything in a certain way, so everything can sync up at the right time to happen in the right way, if that makes any sense. If you perform a ritual or a spell with the mindset of, okay, I'm just going to try it and see that it's not going to work, then it's not going to work, because you know it's not going to work, and you don't really believe in what you're doing. Now, the forces that are at play are so powerful, you don't have to believe in it. If you just do it with a blank mindset, you're going to start seeing results. But you're going to, like, it's going to happen, and you're going to think, huh, so that's probably the most purest form of magic, is to perform a spell or a ritual without any intention, without any expectation, rather. You put your intention, you walk away, no expectations. So that way, when you get your results, it's almost like a surprise, a pleasant surprise. Oh, I didn't intend to see that. But as you get more into it, you start seeing these results, you start realizing that it's actually working, then you start to do things that you really want this, you really want that, you really want to do. You want to get this person into your life, you want to get that thing into your life. And so you start doing these specific things. And then it starts taking a little longer. Then you start having these expectations and these hopes and these dreams, these desires, because it's things you really want. So that's what makes magic difficult or hard. When you start wanting to manifest something you really want, the biggest thing that helps it is to let go. You have to be able to pour all your desires into the spell or the ritual, and then let go. And that's like the biggest thing that a lot of people cannot. That's the biggest thing that a lot of people don't really. Yeah, that's the hardest thing for people to get to that place, get to that point. Anyway, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. That's like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.